Okay, and like I said earlier, I am recording this for those people who are going to be um, who need this information, but for whatever reason weren't able to join us in one of the um, in one of the sessions. So that way we will have a copy of this for them. So as you all are figuring out, we are getting ready to reopen our office to allow for face-to-face tutoring to take place in our office again. But this is going to happen in a very, very um, slow process. Um, this is going to be a multi-phased reopening. And so this is just going to be round one of what we're looking at. And the plan is for this to start next week. And how long each phase goes will really depend on what's going on in Charlottesville as far as number of cases are concerned, and yeah, how is the vaccine rate going? What is the state and local guidelines happening? So we're going to be taking it slow, and we're going to be keeping an eye on lots of different factors. But our thought is that the current plan is going to be good through the end of July. It's going to start on June 14th and it'll run through the end of July. During July, we will be making decisions on what happens in the next phase of the opening. Okay, so starting on June 14th, the office will be open for a very limited number of tutor and student pairs to meet using our space. The time slots will be Monday through Friday morning and Monday through Thursday evenings. In the mornings, there will be a 9 o'clock, a 9:30, and a 10, and each of those is a 3-hour session. And in the evening, it'll be a 5, a 5:30, and a 6. There will be one opening in each of those time slots. So in the mornings, there will be 3 offices being used, and in the evening, there will be 3 total, not 3 per time slot, 3 total. So 3 each morning and 3 in the evening. So 15 in the mornings for the week and 12 in the evenings for the week. Okay, that's not per day, that is per week. Okay. Due to the cleaning protocols and such, the office will not be open for tutoring at other times. So mid-afternoon time slots are not available, and weekend time slots are not available. There are going to be, in this first round, 3 in the mornings, 3 in the evenings. Okay. All of the rooms must be reserved in advance. Drop-in sessions, drop-in requests will not be granted. Please don't put us in the awkward position of telling you no. Don't just show up thinking that we'll find a spot for you, because we won't. We're going to be holding very firm to this, and we've had a lot of discussions on this. But I am very much in the mindset that we need to have a good idea of who's coming in and being ready to make sure that we're set for the sessions that are coming in. So drop-in requests will not be granted, and that includes but it's just this one time. You can make an exception, right? No, I can't. I won't. Okay, there is not a just this one time exception. There is, those are the only. You must sign up in advance. There will be a sign up genius that will be available Starting tomorrow, Heather will send out an email to everyone so that everyone has a fair shot at it. And that will provide the sign up times for the next 3 weeks. So you would be able to sign up for up to 3 weeks at a time. Okay. And if you have never used Sign Up Genius, it's very easy. However, you do need to create an account. The account is free, so it's not going to cost you anything. You just have to sign up, typical email and password type thing, and then you log in. When you click on the link to this, our particular Sign Up Geniuses, you will be able to, whenever you just fill in your time slot, it'll provide us with the information of your name and email address so that we know who's coming. Okay. The morning sessions, appointments must be made by 8 p.m. the evening before, and evening sessions must be made by 1 p.m. the day of. The Sign Up Genius will lock us out of the times outside of those times. The appointments will only be made through Sign Up Genius. If you have problems signing in or you need help figuring out how it works, let us know. We will be glad to walk you through it. But we found that we've been using it with our new tutors for their appointments with me, and everybody's been able to sign up very easily, and we haven't had any trouble with it. So the time between the last person leaving, the people who are leaving in the in that third time slot, and before the next ones arrive, is really what we're calling library time, but it's really also disinfecting time, so that the rooms have time to air out and give us time to disinfect those spaces properly. So no tutoring will take place between 1 and 5 p.m. Monday through Thursdays through Friday. And so, but if you want to come in and talk to a staff member or look at the library and find resources and things like that, we are certainly open for that. And you would be able to come in during that time, and drop-ins are welcome during those times. However, not all staff will be available every day. We are limiting the number of staff we have at the office at any given time. So if you need to speak to one of us in particular, I would recommend making an appointment for that. Because if you decide you want to talk to me and show up on Thursday afternoon, you will not find me at the office. Thursday is not one of my days. So I do recommend that if you want to talk to a specific staff member, make an appointment so that they can make sure that they're there whenever you are coming in. The tutoring rooms will not be open during those times. It will only be the library space and time to talk with staff and such. But like I said, that is, for the most part, that is drop-in if you need to use the library and such. But one thing to keep in mind, we are still going to be holding on to like limited number of people in the building and social distancing and such. So please, if we get to a point where we have too many people in there, we may limit some and say, okay, can you come back in an hour because we have too many people here. Okay. All individuals are required to wear masks when entering the office and whenever they are in common spaces. Even if they are fully vaccinated, masks are required in all common spaces. When you are in the tutoring rooms, when it's just the tutor and the student, wearing a mask is completely up to the discretion of the tutor and the student. I'm guessing that the reason you want to be back in the space is because you would rather be working without masks and in an area. So I think that most people will probably be taking off their masks when they get into the rooms. But if you have to come out to get something at the library or use the restroom or something like that, we do ask that you mask up before returning to the common spaces. Also, everyone who comes in will be asked to sign in when they come in and out when they leave. There will be a clipboard and a sign-in sheet right near the front so that you'll have easy access to it. The reason for that is if someone who was in the office on the day that you were there does end up with a positive test, we will contact everyone who was in the office that day and let them know that someone had a positive test. Vaccinations. We do strongly encourage all of our volunteers and students to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. We have been and will continue to provide all of the information that we get from the Blue Ridge Health District about vaccination opportunities to everyone on who gets one of our newsletters. We've been doing our best to get that information out every week. Individuals may wish to disclose their vaccination status. However, we will not be asking anyone specifically if they are or are not vaccinated. Because of the multicultural aspect of the people, of the work we do, it is not possible for us to really understand any reason why someone would not choose to get the vaccine. We already feel that so many of our students have so many barriers to getting their education. We are not going to put one more in place and require all of our students to be vaccinated. That is entirely up to the discretion of the individuals involved. If you are vaccinated and your student is not, and you do not feel comfortable working with them in a confined space with them being unvaccinated, or the other way around, if the student is vaccinated and you're not, online instruction is still available, and you will be able to use that for as long as you want to do so. I kind of feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of people who are going to continue working online, either fully or partially, just because some people have found it very convenient to just jump online and we don't have to worry about parking and room availability and childcare and such. So I think online instruction is going to be sticking around for a while, even when the virus eventually goes away. But like I said, we are not requiring vaccines. We are not requiring anyone to show proof of vaccination status in order to be a student or volunteer with us. So I'm going to stop that share. And okay, so questions for me?
So yes, I have, hi.
Hi, Jackie.
So I do have a question about vaccination.
Okay.
And so let me see if I understand, you're strongly encouraging people to be vaccinated, but you didn't say, does that mean that, I mean, you can strongly recommend that as for the benefit of everybody, but you didn't say whether they have to be vaccinated in order to enter your facility.
We are not requiring people to get a vaccine in order to enter our facility.
Okay, whether staff, teachers, I mean tutors or students, right?
That's correct.
You know, I'm just wondering, I know you kind of sort of explain, could you explain why? I mean, I can see not requiring it in order for two people to work together, but why, when they have to enter the common area, would you then not require people to be vaccinated?
We just feel like there are so many personal reasons that someone may choose to not be vaccinated. And our students have so many barriers already in place for their education as it is. Putting one more in front of them is difficult on our point. And so we don't want to make it harder for them by telling them that they must be vaccinated in order to be with us. So Ellen, do you want to jump in on this?
Yes. So if we say that everybody must be vaccinated to come in, there's an implied safety, but we know that people don't always tell the truth, unfortunately. And we have no way of checking whether or not somebody's vaccinated, and we cannot understand all the cultural reasons why somebody would not want to be vaccinated.
I had a long discussion with my student who's from Afghanistan, and she was telling me that there's a strong level of discussion among all of her friends that people think it's not safe. They have all kinds of misinformation. They think it's going to make the women infertile. I mean, she went on and on about all the mistaken information that they have. And it just seems that if we were to ask the students to be vaccinated because we feel that this is something that they're doing for the benefit of the country, that it's a patriotic duty, this is something we need to make everyone work together and be healthier, that we're giving them a message that that's a better way to look at their being part of our society.
I think that's a discussion that you and your student can have, and I probably should have, and that you can address that directly. You can also really work with your student to provide the accurate information about the vaccines so that your student could then be a voice of reason among her peer group because she has the facts to support it, and maybe you would be able to a farther reaching impact into our community because you're able to have that discussion with her.
Actually, I have had that discussion with her, and she has gotten vaccinated.
Right. And so hopefully she will continue to spread that word among the community so that you may eventually have a lot of people vaccinated because of the work that you have done personally. And that's fantastic. But I just feel that it's very difficult for us to require, to say that you cannot come into our office if you are unvaccinated. So, okay. Sue, I saw your question in the chat. Would somebody be able to show you around once you come in? So for many of the teachers who have trained through our online training, they've never been to our office. Some of them may not even know where it is. We are in the Jefferson School. We're on the second floor, and Sue, someone will be glad to show you around whenever if you come in during the library time.
Well, I understand that you can't use the tutoring rooms then, but I would just like to peek inside and see.
They're glass doors.
Set up. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, yeah, it's hard to believe, but I've been tutoring since January and have never seen it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people who've been tutoring since November who haven't been to the office. We had one who one that actually, Andy, is Andy still here? He may have had to sneak out, but he won the gift bag from for getting his tutor report in on time, which if you haven't, you still have 3 days. But yeah, so he and Chris, you also won the gift bag for turning in your report on time, right? And I know that Andy had to like call us. He's like, "Okay, I'm in front of the building. What do I do now?" Because he didn't know where we were located. So yeah, it's been a challenge for a lot of our newer tutors. They haven't seen our office. They don't know where what the office looks like and such. So we would be glad to show new tutors around.
Thank you.
Chris, yes.
I just wanted to ask if it's all right for us personally to inquire and raise that topic about whether someone's vaccination status, even though you are
right,
taking yourself out of it for obvious reasons.
So what
us personally can we ask and inquire?
So yes, that is a conversation that you and your student can have. You can certainly talk about the vaccine status. Just be aware that you may need to be thinking about the cultural sensitivity that may need to be involved in this, because like I did have a tutor a couple of weeks ago. He asked if his student was getting vaccinated, and she was very adamant that she was not getting vaccinated and was a little bit on the hostile side about it. And he said, I just dropped it and moved on to a different subject. And I was like, well, we can just continue to meet online and that'll be great. And just kept going that way. And I'm like, that's exactly how I would have handled it as well. Just walk away from that topic. If you're getting major pushback from your student on it, your best choice may be to just drop it and just continue to meet online. And so that will be that is probably the best way to handle it.
And think about the power dynamic on any of those things related to a teacher and a student, and the influences that you might have, and use it well.
Right. I got a question that was direct message to me asking about if somebody's getting a new student, can they request someone who has been vaccinated, and will I be able to honor that request? In general, I'm going to say I'll try, because vaccination status is probably going to be one of those that's very similar to documentation status. We don't ask that question, but I usually know the answer. And so I think that's going to likely be the case with vaccination status as well. I think that students are going to be pretty open about mentioning the fact that they are vaccinated, or if they are not and don't plan to be. And so it's one of those that we're not going to ask, but we'll probably know the information. And so if a tutor is specifically asking for a vaccinated student, I will do my best. I can't 100% guarantee because I'm not going to be checking their little forms, but I'm going to do my best.
So, Steve, I have another question about the, you said in the morning hour is 3 hours in the room. Does that mean?
No, it's 2 hour. It's 2 hour sessions, 9 to 11, 9:30 to 11:30, and 10 to 12. So there are 3 2 hour blocks.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was a 3-hour block. And how far in advance can we make a reservation? I know you said
Up to 3 weeks. There will be there are 3 week, 3 weeks are going to be available at a time.
okay.
But we do ask if you have a session blocked out and you know you're going to have to cancel it a day or two in advance, please go in and cancel it so that that session would be open for someone else. Because like I said, there are only 3 blocks in the morning, 3 blocks in the afternoon. So if you tie one up and then don't show up, somebody else wasn't able to use that space.
You mean, when you say go in and cancel, you mean actually come to the office and cancel?
No, you can go back into
survey.
Into Sign Up Genius and just cancel it through there. I've had a request to show those time slots again. Let me find that slide. So you can see right here. Those are the times that are available. There will be 1 pair allowed in at 9 o'clock, 1 pair allowed in at 9:30, and 1 pair allowed in at 10. And then 1 in at 5, 1 in at 5:30, and then 1 in at 6. I saw something in the chat box about somebody who was meeting like 7 to 9 or something like that. That will be outside of our time, and we would not be able to. You would not be able to do that in our office. Ron, you're muted.
I'm assuming we cannot use other parts of the building.
So I got a message today that the tables out front are going to be opening up either this week or next week. So those would be available.
That's outside? Outside tables?
Outside in front of the building.
Okay.
The courtyard space would be available, but just be aware that YMCA childcare uses that sometimes. And so you may be flooded with small children during the middle of your lesson. And then like the auditorium seats out in the hall would be available, but I can't imagine that being a place where I would want to work.
So there's a table and chairs. I don't know, Stephen, if you've seen this, if you've been down there, but if you go down near the YMCA, there is a table and chairs. It's not ours, so we can't get blamed for having it there. But I've seen random people sitting there and working there.
Also,
not that other room. Not the other room that was being used for conversation class.
Oh.
No, our downstairs rooms are not available because those are going to be the spaces we're going to use for new student intakes and retesting and such. And so we have to stagger the use of those rooms as well, and limit because that gives us we're very limited on where we can have a new student intake and the testing that's required there. So we're using the big spaces for that.
Okay.
Also, for everyone's information, the libraries are reopening. So that's available too these days. You may want to inquire at the branch, but they're open for browsing and for people who want to use the facilities.
I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm kind of assuming this is all going to be written up and we'll all get a copy of this information, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask about conversation groups?
Conversation groups are going to be the absolute last thing to reopen. Those are going to stay online for a while because if we're not comfortable, if we're barely comfortable putting 2 people in the room, I'm really not comfortable putting 7 or 8. And so we're going to stick with online for the conversation groups for the foreseeable future. If I were, if you were going to absolutely force me to give you a date of when I think in-person conversation groups will happen, I would say it's unlikely to happen before the first of the year.
Good, because it's much better this way. It's working really well.
I've actually been hearing that from most of the people who are leading conversation groups. They're like, but we like doing it this way. We're really getting a lot of good discussion and things are happening. Our thought of even when we do open for in-person conversation groups is we're going to likely have 2 or 3 online conversation groups and 2 or 3 face-to-face when they do happen. Because it's like our citizenship classes, which have just exploded with so many people joining those classes over when we moved online. Because it's something that's working pretty well, we're not going to stop that because it's really been convenient for those who are able to tap in that way.
Yeah, we occasionally have, I want to say a variety, but several, mostly Afghan women who have small children, and one of whom is always cooking. She has invited us to come after the week, but there's no way she's going to come downtown to a class. So, and she speaks English really well. It's really good for her to practice and so on. So it's not just the instructors. It's some of the students certainly are better off this way too.
I completely agree. We found, I've been searching very hard for the last year for silver linings, and so I jump on them when I see them. But the fact that we've got a lot of people who have been able to participate in our classes who wouldn't have been able to do so otherwise, that is definitely one of the silver linings that we're going to keep on with, because I like the fact that we have people who can now come to a group class that we're not able to before.
Good, thank you.
Very much another way to remove a barrier. This is very important, and not just in the tutoring scenario, but in many ways, healthcare, lots of things. So it's a good thing. I hope that other service, healthcare services, counseling services, all these sorts of things, they learn from this experience and continue to offer it because people have access to things that they did not have before.
Yep, that's exactly our thought. That we've been so excited about what's going on with our citizenship classes that are like 3 times as many students over what we were doing pre-pandemic. It's been very, very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, so like I said before, we are going to, Heather will be sending out a link in the morning with the Sign Up Genius information so that you can start scheduling your sessions if you are ready to dive in and do so. And if you have any questions or problems with that, you can either contact me, Heather, Catherine, any of us will be glad to help.
And online is still an option if you're not comfortable. So that's fine. Either way.
Yes. And like I said, I think some people are going to continue using online for convenience sake, or they may have, half of their sessions in person and half of them online, or some other variety. But I believe that online tutoring is going to be sticking around for a while.
Oh, I just have another question. So since when the pandemic started and we were going online, one of the things you said was we don't have to meet 2 hours a week. It's online, it just became too difficult. I don't quite know why, but
well, for some, it had become very, very difficult, and we were just hoping to get some instructional hours in. Part of that was also because we got instructions from the State Department of Adult Ed that we're not going to be keeping super tight watch over things like number of hours of instruction and testing and things like that. Well, those directives will end on June 30th with the end of this fiscal year. And so we're going to start expecting those 8 hours a month again. And don't be surprised when we start really pushing everyone to get to have their students tested in like July and August. We're going to try to get through as many of the students as we can during that time so that we have new test data on them.
So so even if our student wants to keep meeting online, then we need to still figure out a way to get 2 hours a week in.
Right. We're still going to be jumping back to that 8 hours a month.
Starting July 1st.
Yeah.
Well, starting as soon as you can, because obviously the more instruction your student gets, the quicker they learn. So.
Right. I just, I have a feeling I'm going to get some pushback, but we'll see.
Yeah, do what you can. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you come up with them, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'd be glad to chat with you more about any of the things that the minute you log out, you think, oh, why didn't I ask this? Because I know that I'm really bad about doing that. So if those come up, just shoot me an email and we can find a way, find the time to chat if that's easier for you, or we can just email back and forth. But as always, we're always here to answer your questions and to help whenever we can.